Today is June 15th, Father's Day, and I am a father two times over. Not gonna talk about that right now, okay? I'm gonna do my content, right? Gonna do my motherfucking content. And what we have here is a picture of Kevin Gates. And today is June the 15th, 2025. I can tell you it's the first time I've ever listened to any of his music in any respect and shit. For the younger people that's here, I am 56 years of age, circa April 17th, right? 56. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't see him as some, I don't know, a star, I guess. Rap is dead for me. Hip hop is dead for me and shit. When it went corporate, you know, it's a mess. It's a tragic parody of what it should be, in this day and age and whatnot. And here we have Kevin Gates and whatnot. And I got this picture here, right? This black and white picture because it tells a lot about him and shit as far as I'm concerned. It's my own personal opinion, but he is a very damaged man, okay? He's a very lost and damaged man or male, okay? All right, I'm going to be talking about the Brittany Renner 52-day marriage. It's fucking preposterous and shit. I will be talking about that shit because I feel a certain way about it and shit. I ever since Brittany put on that fucking, even before she put on a hijab, every now and then I would do a commentary making light of her antics as a professional gold digger and shit, out there treasure hunting like, treasure hunting niggas draws like Laura Croft and shit. And, I do recall that during rolling out some years ago, she was just beginning to really crash out. She had this incident where her and this guy got into it and she threw like water on him and he was suing her for assault. And during that same time, she had met Kevin Gates, where she was publicly interviewing Kevin Gates and just gushing all over herself. She could barely contain herself. She was super happy. I remember some photos of her in his car or something, I don't know if they hooked up or nothing. I'm just saying what I saw. It's just fucking hilarious. It's hilarious and shit. I look at the guy and I'm from Southside Chicago. He looks like some homies you see down the street. They see this guy look like somebody that's probably like a stone. That's a blood in Chicago. It's hanging out in Foster Park and shit. I didn't come here to make fun of it. The fact. I didn't come here to really make fun of this guy. I just came this, in this segment here. I just wanted to say that I see a very flawed and damaged man. He looks like he's been cut adrift in his own life and shit, psychologically and spiritually and shit. And I know how I sound talking like this and shit. What else can I say? I'm not trying to tear the guy down. He's just standard issue rappers, like covered in tats and got this faraway look in his eye. And I've seen a couple of videos where he's wearing an Indian feather in his head. I don't know about his heritage or anything, but when I hear him talk and I listen to all these clips, I feel bad that this man is hiding in Islam, and I'm not Islamic at all. I feel bad he's using his religion, to cover himself and shit, and try to have some semblance of a corporeal, spiritual form and shit. Yeah, I feel like that's shitty to do that to real Muslims and whatnot, to play in their faith. All right, it looks like Brittany might be playing in their faith, pulling a public grift and shit to try to clean herself up because she was so toxic that no man wanted to go sexually launder her fucking ass so that she could get get a smidgen of whatever grace she ever had back and whatnot. I feel it's bad. I don't think she was fucking with Kevin Gates like that. I think she genuinely is interested in him beyond her beyond her aspirations to clean out his wallet and everything. All right, she's crashed out publicly, like hit the wall at light speed, and to see them together, I see two flawed, damaged people, you know, trying to cohabitate in some capacity. She's adopted some of the tenets of Muslim women, from what I can see, and I think it's unwarranted and whatnot. Especially this guy, he needs therapy. He needs years of therapy. You hear his interactions with other women and shit. He's somnambulistic and shit. He's just weird and tragic and shit. And I can't get into this guy. Listen to his music. Is nothing stands out about it. But I am, like I said, 56 years old and whatnot. I feel that he should be taken to task for covering himself in Islam. Right? I feel that that's the way I feel and whatnot. I feel that more than how I feel about Brittany Renner, whatnot. I think it's a shame. I think that some brothers should publicly excoriate him and shit. Some brothers, the men of the faith, should excoriate him for this. Whatnot. He shouldn't be allowed to do this kind of thing and shit. We have a very fractured ethnic society and shit, made up of many different moving parts, and all put together they don't amount to a hill of beans because we're a matriarchal construct and shit. Artificial construct, I might say. And I don't care how any supposed feminist feels about that. But we have here a tragic man that's constantly breaking apart and putting himself back together again and shit. What can I really fucking say about that? Except that I think that he should write an apology to Islam, right? For this shit, for this nonsense. This is not what the faith is about, and I'm not even about the faith and whatnot. To go public like that. I know you're a public figure, but goddamn, you know, goddamn, man, have you no shame, right? How you present yourself. He's been seen walking around wearing the standard issue suit with the bow tie. I chafe inside because I remember when I was growing up in the late '80s. Around between 85 to '88. I was pressed into going to the temple over there on Halsted at 79th Street. I saw Farrakhan there. I saw a number of people there, and it was not really the life for me and shit. And I had been searched a number of times going in there. I had actually been patted down just to go in there. I didn't really think anyone was trying to take Farrakhan out. He had recently appeared at a public forum with Muammar Gaddafi and shit, and they didn't take him out over there, so they wasn't going to come in the final call and just start blasting away. And as a teenage kid, I didn't really appreciate somebody grabbing my junk and slapping me down and shit. But it is what it is. I was ordered by my parents to go there to accompany my older female sibling. All right. And, while I was there, I had joked it with some friends, I guess some associates. I can't really call them friends. They had joked that, while I was there, somebody would offer me to sell me some hair care product in a bow tie. And that shit actually happened. But, I never come out publicly and shit on the faith. I've said things in the past about, a situation in Chicago over there. I've said things in the past, but I never really shitted on the faith. And I feel it's a shame that this man, will walk around and cosplay as someone of the Islamic faith and whatnot, and it's just telling about, some of the, the established, parts of the Islamic faith over here in the States and shit. Because you think the one guy whose name I'm not going to say would get an attorney and publicly excoriate his ass for his behavior. And also by, connected or whatever, I think they, Brittany should be taken to task too, because of her past, right? Because of her past, right? Now I'm going to talk about this 52-day marriage. And I'm going to talk about it and shit in another segment, all right? But for now, I want to come on here with some commentary thoughts, all right? Anyway, that is all I have to say about this right now. I hope this brother gets himself some comprehensive therapy from a male practitioner. All right, from a male practitioner. And I hope he finds a way to put himself back together because he's a man of lost. He had I guess a wife and children and a side piece and all this shit. It's the trappings of supposed fame. I don't see fame as fame anymore. There's no real, personalities out there. I don't care how much monkey makeup he put on and how many tats he has or how many weird ass shits he wear, whatever the fuck's going on. I don't care about what he does with his pecker, whatever size it is, according to black women. I don't care. Or not. I just, I lament the instability of this supposed ethnic community. All right?